My role here is present the radio. If I had time during the day, go around the wards, visiting and asking for requests. Not very many, funnily enough. Occasionally you wonder, is there anybody out there, because quite often I say that, is it me? Is it phone not working? That kind of thing. But it's all light-hearted stuff. There's nothing ever seriously said here, because we do keep it on a light-hearted level. We try to try to make it a fun evening, if you like, with all sorts of music. I try to make music from different eras and a mix, whereas I'm not into a specific, you know what I mean? Because there are different age groups in hospital at any one time, so you can't play old ones assuming they're old people. So you would then just mix it. Like for instance, last night we played Vera Lynn, and then we play more modern stuff for the younger people that may be there, and some middle way like 80s or 90s. So we do have a decent mix. I'm not brilliantly knowledgeable about music, whereas there are colleagues here who know, they can tell you nearly to the time a specific record was made and who brewed the tea for them. I'm not that way inclined. Just pick a song, I like it, that'll do. Happiness. The only downside is if there are songs that some have swear words in them, I wouldn't know till it happens, then it's too late. But I don't sort of fall out with myself for doing that. I just think, oh God, trust me. But we do get over it, and if we're in any doubt, there's somebody usually in the background telling you or giving you one of those looks when you know you've definitely made a mistake. I try not to play music that might be sad. There's one or two that relate to somebody dying. I would never do that while someone's in hospital. Not because they're at risk of dying, but because they may just feel a bit low, and then it trigger an emotion where they've just lost somebody, and they must feel bad enough in the hospital without some dummy like myself breaking their heart with soft, heartbreaking, heart-wrenching music. So I'm a bit on the sensitive side myself, sensitive side. So I do bear that in mind. People may think, I could be so wrong, I don't know. You don't know, do you? But nobody's complained, fortunately. It was in a local, in the area of Wigan, there's a local magazine with all sorts of ads in it, and there was an ad in. So I applied. I eventually got a return phone call. Then we have an induction programme with a young lady called Celia, and become a volunteer for the hospital. No, not at all, not at all. It was a completely different field of things to me. I've never done it before. I enjoy the company of the people involved here because they are such a nice bunch of people. They really are a caring bunch of people. So being with people like that is a pleasure. Also, hopefully, well, you assume to know that if there are people in hospital who feel a bit down, they've got somebody to talk to, somebody to listen to. And there are phones here. We give the numbers out regularly. If they want just to talk, we listen to them. If they want a specific record played, we play it for them. And that in itself is a pleasure. It feels like you're giving something, you're doing something worthwhile, really. And to me, that's all you can ask in life, to do something right or do something good for somebody who's in a bad position at that time. I'd say do it. But when you do it, do 100%. Don't turn up one week and phone in, I can't make it the other. Unless there's a specific reason for not being here, I would always be there. I would never let anybody down. And I think in an environment like this, is more reliant on reliability than, say, any other place. Because, in a way, I'm not suggesting you've got a captive audience, because they can just turn you off any time. But you made a place to yourself. You'll be there. You volunteered to do it because you want to do it. You must always do it. No excuses, unless, of course, it's a really good one. Like, well, if somebody's working, obviously they can't come because they are volunteers after all. But instead of saying, like at the moment, the football's done, say, I'm going to watch the football tonight, that to me is not an excuse. It isn't a valid excuse. So if you've got that attitude, you shouldn't be doing it. You have to be reliable. You have to be consistent. And you have to enjoy it. And I really do enjoy it. Well, the favourite singer is Frank Sinatra. And he's got a voice that will always, always, forever and ever be listened to. He's good. His diction is good in the songs he sings. And his style is good. There are others, of course. Nat King Cole's another one. But Sinatra has the edge over them all because he's been there so long. He can do it. He does it, and he's done it. And to me, that's really all you can say about the man. There's nobody to touch him. The voice is unique. And the impersonations you get are nowhere near. Whereas with some singers, you can get a decent impersonation of them. But nobody seems to have matched Sinatra yet. And I don't think they will do. Well, I don't know if I've got a favourite band. I like Oasis because they have an attitude, I suppose, and they're modern. And there's no pretense with them. They are what you see. I think what you see is what you get. They don't hide it. They're still the kids they were years ago, although they're grown men now. But they still have this attitude, couldn't care less attitude. And I think that comes up surprisingly. The voice don't relate to the attitude when they're singing, and I think that's another plus for them because they do sound really well when you sing them. I think the other band is I do like Take That actually, surprisingly enough, because they've got such a diverse range of songs, and they're pleasant to look at, pleasant to listen to, very knowledgeable, similar to the Bee Gees in that respect. But the Bee Gees are another being, aren't they? Well, they were anyway. So that's my take on them. I really like rock and roll actually, and the reason being is an age thing, because the rock and roll was the first music after the war. Well, I was very young then, obviously, but when we came 15, rock and roll became the thing. And it sticks with you, that kind of music. It's lively, it's vibrant, it's alive, and it's the real deal. My hobbies used to be writing. I used to write a lot, but I used to frustrate myself because I could never finish a thing I wrote. I get to a point and then think, well, where do we go from here? Because some of the stories I wrote were never that far-fetched. They never true to life stories, but you get to a point where you're a little bit out of your depth, and a lot of writers would say that's writer's block. I just think it's lack of imagination or creativity, mate. That's one of the hobbies I had. And the other hobby, I think, I don't know, I like working, funnily enough. If I see a wall, I'd like to paint it. Simple as that. Not artistically, because I'm not that way inclined. But give me a flat brush, or a 4-inch brush, and as soon as I use the brush in the roll at any time. And that's a hobby as well. Sad. I should have given all that work stuff up years ago, but you can't because it's in you. I think we're born to work in the north. My favourite movie has got to be Close Encounter. It seemed real to me. I know it's a fiction film, but it seemed something that could actually have happened to somebody. You know when you get these weird sensations, like, should have been here before, deja vu systems. that in itself seems like it could really happen, and I loved the way it worked, and I loved the way it was acted out actually, because for me that was perfectly cast. Quite often these films are not. There's always a little bit of, dysfunction about casting. But that for me was perfect. There's no glamour pieces in it. There's no glamorous women in it. You know what I mean? Ultra handsome film stars. They all look like ordinary people, brilliantly acted. So that's why this is my favourite film. The other one, of course, it's Hobson's Choice, Charles Laughton. That's my all-time classic, that, because that's a fabulous film. I can see that every night of the week. The favourite TV series is The Mentalist. That again is, there's no, usually in these series and these television things, you find there's always a glamour woman in it, or a devastatingly handsome man. In The Mentalist, there's none of that. They're all ordinary. They're all like you bump into them in the street type of people, and it's funny. Obviously, it's a bit far-fetched, but it really is good to watch. Easy on the eye, really good. And I like the attitude they've all got. They seem to gel together. You know, they fall out, talk to each other like they do. It's really good, that. This is the radio studio at the hospital in Wrightington. We're serving Wrightington, Wigan and Leigh. Although I don't think there are any people in Leigh Hospital at the moment. When they broadcast from there, they serve Preston and Leigh and Chorley. But we just do Wrightington and Leigh. Now, Wrightington is world renowned for having invented the hip replacement. Little piece of metal stuck in your hip, off you go. Rock and rolling before you know it. And I'm now with Steve, who does the slot with me on Thursdays, every Thursday. This is the desk. We call it a desk actually. It's a control panel. These operate the mic when we move them up. The mics are live. This is the volume when we're transmitting, and that's the volume if we need to hear it in the studio. So that's what we're doing. This is where we put the CDs and discs, and we play there occasionally. We have a turntable. It's really professional, this. Soundproofing. Oh yes. Television. We have the current news programme going on all the time. And these are our playlists here. We select from that one. Where's the other gone? There it is. We select the song off there, take it across to there, and it plays. Quite soon, in another 5 minutes, I'll be leaving Steve on his own. Because being Thursday, I have to go around and take the tea to the wards, the patients in there. If somebody, not just me, other volunteers don't go around, they don't get a cup of tea till this evening from 12 o'clock. So it's a long time to be in the hospital without a facility like that. So we take it round, tea or coffee. Unfortunately, when we do the tea round, it's visiting time. We're not allowed to give visitors a tea or a coffee due to health and safety reasons. But you do see people who are on their own who don't get visitors, because this hospital's been such a specialist and probably the best in the country in its field. They come from all over, the Isle of Man, Scotland, Jersey, Guernsey, all over the country. And there are people who can't get the families to come and see them because of the distance they have to travel. And once or twice in the past, you just say, I'll sit with you, have a chat with them. And surprisingly, it makes their day. It really does, and you're amazed. You think, how can I make somebody happy like that? Not one moan in sight. Don't moan, just listen to them. And they're so proud of the fact that you spent the time with them. So you feel good yourself having done something worthwhile, if you like, more than this.
We give the numbers out asking for requests, although somebody goes around the wards and we have a list, go around asking what we'd like us to play. The sad thing about the hospitals, this one particularly, more than Wigan. Wigan have a television system with the programmes on it. The radio programmes are free, so they can listen to us there. This particular one is a headphone system, and nobody tells them that it's available. So we have to go around, and usually we have a t-shirt. And I had mine on before I came out. I cut my thumb, can you see it? That little red mark. It was so bad, look at that. Cut it in half. And I cut it and it went all over my shirt, so it's in the wash now, so I had to change. So that's me gone. Okie doke, ta-ra. Have a great day, take care, stay safe.